So, hello everyone. My name is Juha Leppamaki. I work as information specialist in the access services at Helsinki University Library. And I'm here to present a paper by Elina Kähö, our head of services, and me. But Elina couldn't join us here at the conference, so I'll be presenting the paper by myself. And the paper is, of course, about the development of resource sharing services at Helsinki University Library. So the University of Helsinki is the oldest university in Finland. It was founded in 1640 as a 750 million euros budget. We have 4 campuses, 11 faculties, 164 programs. We have about 6,000 degrees per year, staff of 7,800, and over 31,000 degree students and 200,000 alumni around the world. Now, as a university library where I work, it's the largest multidisciplinary university library in Finland, and we provide services to an international academic community of more than 50,000 students and staff on 4 campuses and online. And as University Library is open for everyone, you don't have to be a student or staff at the university to make use of our services. So anyone can use the library services. And organizationally, the library services are divided into learning services, access services, and research services. And learning services include customer service and guidance, training. Access services include acquisitions, collections, metadata, and interlibrary loan services and document delivery. Research services include data support, liaison librarian services, and open science support. And we work across organizational boundaries. So although ILDS services are part of access services, they are connected to customer service in the learning services. Although I work personally at access services, I have some liaison librarian duties as well that are connected to research services. Now, about the ILDS services at Helsinki University Library, we have currently a team of 4 people working in the interlibrary loan services. We have Eero, Mikko, and Leena who take care of the customer service in ILL, and I work mainly as a developer at the moment. And looking at interlibrary loans, Helsinki University Library lends more than it borrows, but we are still the biggest borrower in Finland. We are also the second biggest lender, and the biggest lender is the National Repository Library of Finland. But we handle about 3,000 to 4,000 requests per year. Our library database is called Helka. The library database system was renewed in summer 2020. And we are now using Ex Libris Alma library services platform and Primo VE for discovery services. Our previous system was Voyager, and it was put to retirement after nearly 20 years. So we kept going with Voyager for a very long time. And we chose Alma because it provides up-to-date workflows for access and acquisition to electronic resources, and the user interface makes it easy to find printed and electronic materials. Moving on to our development project, the background for the development project was this. We were using an in-house ILL software that was approaching the end of its life cycle. On the other hand, we had changes due to in human resources due to retirements. Moreover, our ILL services were spread across many systems. We were using many web forms. We had the in-house ILL software. We had the ticket management system, also used email a lot. And we had Voyager, which we later changed into Alma, but we continued doing the ILL services this way. And the main problem, in my opinion, was that the different systems were not communicating with each other. So for example, the web forms were not communicating with our ILL software. There was a lot of manual copying from one system to another between the systems, and this kind of work that takes a lot of time, what we'd like to avoid. And when we did the migration from Voyager to Alma in 2020, we already started testing Alma resource sharing at that point with some other university libraries in Finland that were also migrating to Alma. And for me, the main question was, can we replace our old ILL system, so all these web forms and in-house software and others with just Alma resource sharing? Can we find a more integrated approach to this? Can we bring this under our library service platform? And so we started the development project in 2021, and it was made into a part of the library's plan of action for last year. And the main task was determined as to clarify our ILL process and to update the systems. And our project team consisted of 5 specialists. Elina was the project manager. I was the ILL developer. We had Eero from ILL customer service. And we also needed the help of our software developer, Pertti, and Heidi from our communications team. It was a 6 months long project that was scheduled from March to September 2021, and we set the 7th of September as the go live date. Now, looking at what Alma offers in terms of resource sharing, it supports many ILL protocols, including the newest ISO 18626, which is of particular interest to me, but also older protocols like NCIP, the older version of ISO, and just email as a basic protocol. Now in Finland, interlibrary lending is largely based on email and also web forms. So we chose to use the email protocol as a starting point at this phase. And Alma provided us with ready workflows for handling borrowing and lending requests, and it utilizes temporary bibliographic records and items for borrowed material. So those were all things that we were missing in our previous systems. The migration of the ILL services to Alma basically consisted of these 4 parts. First of all, configuring the so-called resource sharing library in Alma. So this is the library where the resource sharing requests are handled. Then we needed to create so-called partner records. And the partners are the other libraries that borrow or lend from us. Then we needed to configure web forms to collect the ILL requests and finally configure the emails that would be used in resource sharing. I'll take a closer look at each part now. So we decided to centralize our ILL services to one campus. So all requests and deliveries now go through the main library, also known as Kaisa House, where our ILL staff is located. So in terms of Alma, this meant that we set up one resource sharing library that serves the other, all the 4 campus libraries. And we configured workflows for borrowing and lending, as well as some terms of use and pickup location. There was a lot of configuring to do. And as I said, in Alma, Alma resource sharing, the libraries that borrow from us and lend to us are known as partners. And the partner records are separate from the user records. They are different. So we needed to convert the existing Alma user records into partner records. And also, because we had other user records in our in-house ILL system, some of which were not duplicates of those in the Alma user database, we also needed to convert those to partner records. And this was done using the Alma API, so that we mapped the fields in the records. We were converting to the fields in the partner record and automatically uploaded the records to the system. And this resulted in about 560 partner records for resource sharing when we started. Next, we needed forms for collecting the resource sharing requests, and for borrowing requests this was quite easy because there's a form that's readily provided in the Primo discovery system that we can use. It has limited customization options, but we found that it's enough for our purposes. So it allows patterns that are signed into request books or articles and select the pickup location, and the requests are sent directly to the Alma interlibrary lending work list. Now, on the lending side, Alma doesn't provide a form for lending request, but taking into account how ILL usually works in Finland, it's based on email and web forms, we decided that we need to create a form for collecting lending requests too. So we created a form that the other libraries can use by ourselves. And this form uses the Alma API to send lending requests directly to Alma. And this is another example of how we use the APIs in this project, and that's what we needed the help of our software developer. It's very useful that we have these interfaces that allow us to create our own, connect our own applications to the library system. And I think we can get more out of the library system when we use these APIs. So as I said, we are currently using the email protocol, simply because in Finland we mainly use the email. Alma has about 20 emails that are related to resource sharing workflows. There are the request emails, answers to requests, renewal requests, rejections, and so on. And we needed to check all the emails, the text, revise the text, And that's why we needed the help of our communications specialist. And we made bilingual letters, so they are in Finnish and English. And we used the same letter for domestic and overseas partners. Whoops. So for reporting, we use mainly the Alma Analytics. I designed some reports for gathering usage statistics and other information we need in our work. Another thing we are just now currently working is a solution to create invoices automatically in the university finance system based on reports, and that we retrieve again through the Alma API. That's a work in progress. So what were the results of the development project? First of all, increased discoverability for users. The ILDS service is now easier to find. There's a link to it on the library database front page that leads to the web form, and patrons can also find the link when they search the library database and they find a citation that's not available in the collections. In that case, they can open the form and it will copy the bibliographic data automatically to the form. But they can open the form and request an article using PMID or DOI. New functionality: the patrons can now find their interlibrary loans and requests when they log into their Helka user account, and they can see the status of each request. They can request renewals from their own user account. They can cancel requests if they have not yet been sent to the supplying library. Now, for our ILL staff, from their perspective, there's now less of this manual copying from one system to other, as we receive the request directly to Alma. And they can send the request and answers to them also directly from Alma. There's no way that we can get completely rid of email, so we are still using that to communicate with partners in certain cases. And we still receive requests by email in addition to the web form we created. Now, looking at the first 365 days of use, we have handled about 2,400 lending requests and 720 borrowing requests. And there have been no major problems in the processes. So in conclusion, I can say that we succeeded in replacing the old systems with Alma and bringing the ILL workflow under one system. Then I'd like to say a few words about interlibrary loan services during COVID-19. We have kept providing ILL services throughout the pandemic. We had people working on site in customer service and also ILL services, keeping things going. However, we informed our users that there may be delays and limitations due to lockdowns and the global situation. We did notice a decrease in the number of ILR requests, but this was in line with the general decreasing trend in ILL requests that we have. So I couldn't say that there's a specific COVID effect in the number of requests. And of course, the entire development project was done during the pandemic. This meant that project meetings, training, and planning were done as remote work completely. And I think it helped that we were already used to this kind of remote work, because we had done the migration to Alma during the previous year, which was also a pandemic year. So this was nothing new to us. I do think it would have helped if we could have arranged some hands-on training sessions for the ILL staff, but that was not possible. Then something about our future prospects. As I said, there's been a decreasing trend in the overall number of IR requests at our library during recent years. And we believe that as open access progresses, our ILL services will focus more on the material that's difficult to obtain, older, non-digitized material and such. And on the other hand, we are sending just such material in large amounts from our printed collections to the National Repository Library of Finland. And that's why we want to make a user-oriented, smooth way for our users to request that material and find that material that we've sent to the National Repository Library through our ILL services. Now the National Repository Library, this year they have a project called IRUT, and we are participating in that project. And in that project we are looking at the ISO 18626 protocol as one solution, and also outside that project we are looking at moving on from email to ISO in the future. And lastly, at linking document delivery services to Alma resource sharing in case we need to buy a document from a commercial provider if it's not available through interlibrary loans. So that was the presentation. Thank you, and you have the contact details. You can get my card if you want. And if you are working with same kind of issues, not necessarily with Alma, but if you are working with redesigning or renewing your IL services, I'd like to hear from you. Feel free to email.